we are back. JKJ Digital Assets is back on the scene. Y'all know we've taken a little bit of a break here. We enjoyed the holiday season with our family and friends, but we knew we had to get back out in front. We had to start pumping out some more of these videos. So it is time to go. Javier and I have been talking about it, and we said, it's important. We've got to be able to get the word back out about what's been going on, because let's be quite frank, there's no sense in trying to beat around the bush here. It has been a brutal, absolutely brutal 9 months in the crypto world. But, we think there's some upside to what's going on too. But I mean, when you look back at some of the things, Javier, that's going on, I know that like the gigantic news story obviously has been the whole FTX debacle. We touched on FTX a little bit in the past. But I think if some people go back and look at some of the other videos, they'll see we kind of talked about it, and then we didn't talk about it much anymore. So,
Well, no, it wasn't fun at all. I mean, if you think about it, we start off in the summer with Terra Station.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, that was a big loss. I mean, Luna was one of my puppies. So, big losses there. And then we moved on, right? Three Arrows Capital was part of that whole debacle. And then we kept on talking about it. We referred to it. We said, hey, there's another shoe's going to drop somewhere. We just didn't know how big a shoe it was going to be. And FTX was that, actually. And so with that went BlockFi. Gemini Wallet just went bankrupt. Celsius has been bankrupt since. And a lot of our tokens, a lot of our cash gone. And a lot of big players, a lot of big hedge funds losing money as well. So yeah, it's been pretty nasty out there. That being said, would you believe that the cryptocurrency market cap is back up at $1 trillion? So you tell me when we had Enron, when we had any of the things that went in the equity markets, did you see them bounce back so quickly? And so here we are now, and cryptocurrency markets are back at $1 trillion, and it's extremely bullish at this point. We still think there's another shoe out there that may drop, but it's growing. It continues to grow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw an article the other day that was talking about, the run that Bitcoin's been on and the percentage over the last year that Bitcoin's one of the best investments that you could have been in over the last 12 months.
Still is, yeah.
I mean, it's a great asset to be in. It's something I still firmly believe you should be making those nice little manageable buys that we talk about all the time.
Yeah, we talk about it. We talk about DCAing, right? Dollar cost averaging your way back into it. Don't make a full position buy when you buy any of these. You can just DCA your way into it, which is what I've been doing. So, what's exactly been happening in the markets? Obviously, thank you so much, CEFI and the morons that were running it. I'm still very pissed off about the whole thing. I didn't take any losses due to FTX and SBF and the rest of the clowns over there. But a lesson learned, and we talked about this, was that we thought that centralized exchanges were the way to go. It would be the safest way. And it just turns out to be the reason why we went cryptocurrency in the first place, right? So we wanted to get rid of the middleman. Mm-hmm. And so here's the middleman, here it is, and we lost again. So it teaches us, right? So now let's talk about what's going on in the industry, what's been happening behind the scenes while the U.S. is coming up with new regulations and everybody's bad-mouthing and telling you that crypto's dead. Just a couple of things out there that are going on just to highlight that this is far, far from over and that you should be making small investments. I've got some notes here. Excuse me, this keeps me on focus here so I don't go rambling too long. So first of all, inflows into the crypto markets just last week, $117 million came back in, mostly into Bitcoin. So that follows right into your what was the best investment to be in. Obviously, after the last crypto winter, Bitcoin was at around $3,700, and it went all the way up past $65,000, back down to $23,000 right now. But that's $23,000 of Bitcoin still. So depending on where you entered the market, obviously, if you came in at the low side, then you're still winning. What else is happening out there? Here's a nice one. Moody's. Moody's is the credit rating research and data company. They write up about all sorts of things that have to do with credit ratings for any company, bonds, countries, you name it. They're going to create let me read this correctly, they're developing a stable coin scoring system. This is incredibly good. I mean, you always hear in the markets a lot of people bad-mouthing USDC, USDT, whether they've got the backing, right? It's supposed to be pegged or backed by the US dollar. And you hear that a lot of times the USDT, for instance, is backed by some sort of paper, by maybe Bitcoin, some other cryptos. And so we can never really put our finger on it. And so it kind of lends a little bit of instability to a stable coin. So Moody's coming out with a scoring system for it. Hopefully what this does is it cleans up stables as a whole. You want to be on the top of the Moody's list, right?
Oh, for sure.
So basically now with all these other blockchains that are out there that create their own stables, and a lot of stables out there you haven't heard of, hopefully this cleans them up. And I really like that development.
Well, you know, I'll look at that like we've talked about before, how, you know, and a lot of people that are in the crypto market, they hear the word regulation and the first thing they want to do is recoil. You know, like it's going to be a bad thing. Well, I mean, these are the type of, it's like a self-regulation. I mean, it's not the government coming in and doing this, but when you have somebody doing the research for you, it just makes people be a little more transparent and a little more forthright with what are they propping their position up with.
John, who's not here today, likes to say, you know, it lends legitimacy to the whole market, and that's where we're going, right?
Yeah.
We want legitimacy. We want to make it easy for folks to come in and say, okay, yeah, I'll put my $25 on that. I'll put a couple of bucks on there. I could flip that over, and here's one.
I was going to say, we got one more on the list, man.
Here's a funny one. Arizona Senator Wendy Rogers introduced a bill making Bitcoin legal tender in Arizona. Now, this will never happen right now. Not in the U.S., but nevertheless, that's great to see, you know. So here in the U.S., we've got, you know, some very, very forward-leaning, forward-thinking senators out there that understand cryptocurrency, unlike some of the other folks that are up in D.C. that want to regulate it without even being able to spell Ethereum. So,
but I mean, again, it's somebody that's looking and kind of understanding, you know, where the financial markets are shifting and what the new age of currency is going to be.
I love it, and that just kind of like in your face for everybody else that doesn't understand cryptocurrency, and they understand it. I mean, you got some senators up in and congressmen in D.C. that do understand it. They're fighting the fight for us. One of my favorites ever since they did it, El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. I hope I said that right. I didn't completely kill his name.
Just the way I would say it.
It's been almost a year now. They made Bitcoin legal tender alongside the U.S. dollar. For those of you that don't know, the U.S. dollar is their currency down there. Ever since their civil war, their money was deemed worthless, so they took the U.S. dollar on. Only problem is that every time we start printing money, it might not seem like anything to us, but it definitely destroys their economy. So they went that way, and everybody was against them. I mean, hell, we had, 2 senators from the great state of New York that introduced a bill to study El Salvador and the danger of El Salvador. And I remember we talked about that here, and we had a good giggle about it. And then most every news agency out there was betting against them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were all like, these guys are going to default. They're going to, they're going nowhere. This is not going to work. And of course, and here we have it just very recently, I think this last week, they had an $800 million worth of debt that was coming due, and they paid it off.
What a stunning thought. A government that paid their debt.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, look at that. Hey,
that's crazy.
And so this is El Salvador, which is supposed to be disappearing, right? The experiment is working, and he's looking pretty good right now. Of course, one of the things that made me laugh was an article I was reading that said that they're still in grave danger, right? They have 80% debt to GDP, and so that got me to thinking, and I started doing a little bit of digging.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't take a whole lot of digging actually. And so here in the United States, we're 120% debt to GDP right now. So
I was going to say, without even hearing that stat, I think I'd take 80.
Of course we have an incredible economic engine, right? But that being said, 80 to 120, you do the math. I'm okay with El Salvador and what they're doing. I think a lot of poor people are looking good right now down there.
That's it, man. It's an opportunity to step out of the bonds of where you've been born into. Yeah. So, One of the other things that I saw that was going on and I thought was pretty interesting is, I get my Fidelity updates every now and then. And I'm looking, and of course, I'm watching most of the stuff in my Fidelity account. I'm like looking on the floor going, I think there's something left in there.
I love it. I love it.
But the one thing I thought was so interesting was I think it was back in the late fall or something. I got one, opened it up, and it started asking me about was I interested in investing in crypto through Fidelity. And I thought they were some of the folks that had told us last year, don't be a fool, don't get into that.
All of them have been saying that, and this one, when it comes, when we finally reaches us, it'll be in the form of another cell phone wallet app. But don't miss the impact that this is going. When we keep talking about mass utilization, mass entry into this. Let's talk about how many people out there have Fidelity accounts. How much money is about. They're going to make it easy now. We talk about centralized exchange. I just got done bad-mouthing all of them, right? So, so this is exactly, here comes another player.
But the interesting thing, what it does is it takes, to me, the first thing that I thought of was, and this is not, it wasn't the best result. But when you think about what Robinhood did for enabling the youth of America to be able to jump in and make these small little purchases.
And then steal their money.
And get into it. Well, but that's what I said. It didn't end up so well for everybody with that. But I just see this as like a way that Fidelity is now going to look at the 40, 50, 60-year-olds and say, all right, we're going to make it what you understand and make it easy for you to get in.
And that's what JKJ Digital Assets is all about. Trust me on this one. I tell you, we really, when we went and we stepped forward and developed this company, it was to teach our generation, and maybe some generations a little bit younger, how to jump into this thing and make a good amount of money for generations behind you, right? So some of this can be asymmetric and with small investments. So we'll see what Fidelity and what their technique and what they come teaching. I mean, the first email I got was understanding Bitcoin. I'm like, really? Okay, so we got to start somewhere.
Yes.
And I'm excited about it. And really the reason I'm excited about it more than anything else is it highlights, and again, going back to John's comment, it lends more legitimacy to the crypto market. So, for those of people that are out there, for all the people that are bad-mouthing, JP Morgan Chase, BlackRock, you name them, now Fidelity, all in on this. So we're good. What else? Crypto.com, global crypto owner report came out and said that, we have now 425 million people that own crypto. That's 39% above what it was last year. So the numbers are growing. We're down, but I got to tell you, if you're still holding on to some of these cryptos and I am, and our research is still good, that it's going to get nice here, hopefully sooner before or later. Another one was that the total, and this is great. Thank you, CEFI, once again. Total value locked in DeFi markets right now is up by 29% just this year, January, 25%. Again, thank you, CEFI. Most of those of us that are doing the homework and understand that now we got to go to these decentralized exchanges. Total value locked in those. Up 29%, and we will talk about just a tad more about that here in a little bit.
Yeah, so I think we've seen kind of where did we come through this horrible little stretch that we went through. We see where there's been some bounce. We see some new players coming in. The market's changing. People are adapting. So that kind of brings you to the big question for right now. Like it seems like we're always asking in the crypto world, and it's where does that leave us today?
Yeah, well. Again, I always say cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology. They all they demand that you research, that you read. But every once in a while, just go on the internet and read one of the white papers on Atom, on any one of these blockchains, and just to understand what's behind the curtain. There's currently a lot of equity. On the equity side and on the cryptocurrency side, a lot of smart heads, I call them smart heads, out there saying that we have definitely seen the bottom. I don't think we've seen the bottom in the equity markets. A lot of the guys in the crypto industry are saying, we have seen it. Of course, then they throw in the caveat. There's another shoe out there. Obviously, Digital Currency Group, along with Genesis, these are crypto lenders, owe millions of dollars to Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. So if that money isn't able to come back to Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, we're going to see another big. We'll have another problem.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we'll see another dip. So there are other things out there we're not sure. Regulation in the U.S. Will we see regulation that stifles it? I'm hoping not. But they could come out and say, hey, USDT, who I just mentioned, you don't want to open up the books. You're not looking clean enough for us. Therefore, here in the U.S., you can't use USDT.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be a pretty big hit, too. And then, of course, the equity markets, right? I always say that, we all say that the cryptocurrency market is very tied to the equity market. So should we take another hit in the equity markets, it's should see. But again, we're saying that we've seen the bottom in cryptocurrency. Maybe it'll travel right back to that bottom and come back up. So where do we go from here? We have to stay prepared. Continue to DCA. That's a big one, right? Small buys into Bitcoin and Ethereum are what I'm making right now. I have some projects that I really, really like, and I continue to put a couple $100 here and there into those projects. Blockchains. You've got to get familiar with some of these other blockchains, right? We use the mainnet Ethereum network. Learn something about Arbitrum One, about Optimism, Avalanche, Solana, some of these other blockchains that are out there that make it a lot easier, and the fees are a lot less when you go in to make swaps or when you go to provide liquidity. Any of these things that are actually providing you with good yields. Coming up pretty soon, you're going to see the Shanghai upgrade to Ethereum. All that does is if any one of you staked your Ethereum and you're looking at it going, hey, my Ethereum 2.0, I can't unstake it. With this Shanghai update, you'll be able to unstake. So what will that do? I don't think it's going to lower fees. It might create a sell-off if you sell your Ethereum. Have a nice day, because I think Ethereum is going to go pop. I honestly believe it's going to flip Bitcoin here in the future. And then I can't say it enough. Self-custody, self-custody, self-custody. Learn how to use a ledger. Learn how to use a Trezor. There are quite a few new ones out there. Those are my two favorites. They're very user-friendly. Self-custody your cryptos. Do not leave them in a centralized exchange. Do not do that anymore. We've lost enough cryptos thanks to them. If you're going to work with a DeFi network, then that's where you want to go, a DeFi exchange. We'll be putting out papers here really soon on bridging and actually using a couple of DeFi exchanges just to get your feet wet in them, and so you can see how, 25 more steps, but once you're there, you'll see how the yields are nice and they're not that difficult. So
so that's so again, I think it's funny when we'll make these videos sometimes and we get into what's been going on lately and what's the new things that are going. It all seems to come back to the same basic thing. You take care of your own stuff, try to eliminate risk wherever you can, and be smart about what you're spending. If you do that, crypto is for everybody. And I think that's been our big push here at JKJ Digital Assets from the very beginning. So, you go to jkjdigitalassets.com. You find us out there on some of the other social media platforms. You can go find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. Come out there and look. We're still doing updates. We're still making these videos. We're still out here trying to let you know what can you do to be the best crypto investor that you can be. Be smart. Get out there and get after it. Folks, this is just, I'm sitting here shaking my head. It's stunning that we've made another video, and the error that has occurred here is egregious. I have no beer in front of me. There is no proper way to wrap this up. This has been an epic fail. I apologize, but folks, with a tear in my eye, I say good night.